Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are in the world. Welcome. As you join us, good to see lots of familiar faces, possibly some new faces as well. So as we wait for people to join, at the Purpose Collective, many of you will know we always start by introducing ourselves in the chat, saying who you are, saying where you are in the world, and actually today's question. So we normally do these on a Thursday. Today's Friday, so we're right up against the weekend. So why don't you share, what are you looking forward to this weekend? So my wife has just flown to Ibiza with her girlfriends. So I'm kind of solo dadding for the next 3 days with my 2 children. So that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend, but I'm also slight bit of trepidation about the how little sleep I'm going to get. But welcome as you join. As I said, use the chat, say who you are, say where you are in the world, and what are you looking forward to this weekend. We're on Friday. Happy Friday. It might be Friday morning for you. It could be Friday evening for you. So Mandar is joining us from Mumbai. So he's right at the end of the working day almost. So let's see who's with us, and while we wait for more people to join. So we've got Joe in Bury St Edmunds. Welcome back, Joe. And it's got a girly evening with your mom. So that's excellent. We've got Amanda in West Wittering. What a wonderful name that is. I'm looking forward to a couple of good friends going to stay and a boat trip to see seals. That sounds amazing. We've got Alberto in The Hague. Looking forward to going to the beach. And kayaking this weekend, so very jealous of the wonderful beach in The Hague. And Josie's going to watch Top Gun as well. Oh wow, I'm looking forward to. I've not seen the new Top Gun film. Sarah, who's in Oxford, who's been stuck in Oxford all week due to the train strike. Looking forward to a game of tennis this evening. We've got Esther in Brighton, who's having a grandson for the weekend. We've got Deborah in The Hague, looking forward to a massive Veterans Day parade. We've got Mandar in Mumbai, our guest. Looking forward to resting and going for dinner movie. Top Gun as well. So a theme of Top Gun. We've got Jane from South Downs. Got a party in the park tomorrow in a local village. And we've got Tam in Montreal. It's Quebec Day, so a long weekend with beautiful weather. So if you haven't yet, use the chat. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you are in the world. And tell us, what are you looking forward to this weekend? So we normally do the Purpose Collective on a Thursday. It's Friday. Happy Friday. So what are you looking forward to? Chris in Buckingham's looking forward to the Buckingham Festival. So lots of nice food and live music. I think we've got Sandergash who's just joining us as well. So just going to give it one more minute. So Sarah, as I said, has been stuck in Oxford all week. Side business school, not a bad place to be stuck, but hasn't been able to get home. So welcome Robbie as well. So shall we get going? I'll do an intro. So I'm Chris, I'm one of the founders of the Purpose Collective, along with Alberto and Sarah. And I'm going to hand over to Alberto to say hello as well.
Hi, everyone. I think we know each other already. So one of the co-founders as well. And I'm going to hand over to Sarah.
A very warm welcome, everybody. I hope you've got that Friday feeling as the weekend starts to approach. Yes, I'm in Oxford. Only been stuck here really since yesterday evening because of the rail strike in the UK. I'm super excited. Mandar, that you're our guest speaker today. Thank you so much for coming. I'm just going to say a few words about you, Mandar, and then ask you a couple of questions, if I may, but perhaps you might like to say hello and people can see you there.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you.
Hello.
Mandar, for coming. And Mandar, you have had a nearly 20-year career at Shell, where I know you did a lot of work around innovation and you set up their Game Changer program. It will be great to hear about your experience at Shell and also what you've been doing since then, including founding Cities for Peace. And I think I first became aware of your work when I watched one of your videos via Amazon about you taking people on tour around India on a peace trail, which was really inspiring. So a couple of quick questions, if I may, please. So when you were growing up as a kid and you got asked that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? What was your response? What did you say?
Well, I grew up in Mumbai in India on the West Coast. It's the financial capital, but also the cricket capital of India. So I have played cricket all my life, every day, it doesn't matter rain or shine or exam or no exam. So I wanted to be a cricket player.
Makes sense. And I don't know if you can join the dots between that ambition and what you do now. Who knows? Maybe I'll leave that thought with you. And our second question, final question from me, is who's a purpose superhero for you? Who's inspired you with their purpose?
There are many. There is not just one. There are many, but if you want me to pick one, it would be my meditation teacher. He's a no-nonsense guru. His purpose is to bring a smile on everybody's face. And I met him 20 years ago. I found in him a blend of intelligence and innocence, which I struggled to find in the corridors of shell.com. So.
Thank you so much, Mandar. I love that, a no-nonsense guru. Very fortunate to have that person in your life. So Mandar, a huge thank you from Chris, from Alberto, myself and everybody here. We're a smaller group today and we were reflecting on that. We think it's because it's Friday and people are going to their weekend, but lots of people also catch up on the recording. So we are recording the session, as you know. So thank you again, Mandar, and I'm going to pass the baton to you.
Thank you, Sarah. It's not about numbers. It's actually the lesser people that are the more soulful the conversations can be. I started a habit now almost 2 years ago when the pandemic, the first wave came in Los Angeles, where I used to live. I started adding 5 new people on LinkedIn every day. And I had 1 new conversation every day. If I don't meet anybody from the LinkedIn outreach, then I just talk to a vegetable vendor or the person who comes to deliver your whatever, Swiggy, Zomato. So that's how I accidentally have bumped into Sarah. It raises my hope in the last 20 months with all the news about the pandemic. These are the networks, the tribes that I feel blessed that there are good people out there. I'm not alone. Because as a change maker, you know, all you need is one more person that says, keep going. So the more lateral, the more diverse your networks are, the more, I would say, impact that you can make is what I believe in. So I would like to share a little bit about my story, my journey, make it interactive. I'm going to share my screen. But I have started experiencing Zoom, or not me, my laptop's experiencing Zoom fatigue, so it crashes. So if it crashes, I'll be back, yeah? Okay, do you see my screen? I won't dwell too much on this. This is the world that we live in. And you can, of course, add so many other things. The war, the refugee crisis, people talking about the Ukraine war, but there are two, 3 other wars that are happening that nobody talks about. There is too much going on. And amidst that, circles of change makers like what we are is very rare. So just to ground ourselves, what we are doing is very, very rare in the midst of the global crisis or crises that we are facing. So usually, you know, in a technical company at Shell, I'm raised as an engineer. We look at the results. Like if you want to solve problems, you look at results. What are you doing? You look at the processes, like do we need to improve the process, how we are achieving, how we are doing things. But very, very, very rarely we look at who is involved in solving the problem. So this is often referred as a blind spot, that we don't go to that inner place from where we operate. For example, I lived now in the US 25 years. There is a coffee corner conversation that happens like this. People ask you, hey, Mandar, how's it going? Before you answer, they're gone. So we don't go to the place, the person that is part of our team or our group. And for me, that is where it all starts. That is where it all starts because, you know, even trees and rocks have a longer life than I do. So if I'm there for a small amount of time, I better get to know people that are working with me, that I'm associated with. How can I help them? Yeah. If I need to help them, they need to tell me. They will not tell me if they don't know me. So we need to really look inward. We need to look inward and we need to look at the place where we operate from as well. Yeah. Do we look at work as a transaction? I wished Sarah on her birthday. I expect her to wish me on my birthday. Come on. So that's where I'm going to ask in a breakout room, what does the word peace mean to you? There is no right or wrong answer. So listen to the other person's perspective. If you can make it just two people in the room, then it will be a much easier, soulful conversation. And then we'll bring you back. So just share, what does it mean, peace? Okay, welcome everyone. I had a very soulful chat with the three musketeers at the Purpose Collective. So there is no right or wrong answer. And, you know, depending on our life experience, the books we read, this definition can mean many things to many people. Yeah. But my question to you is this, whatever you may have discussed, harmony, happiness, whatever that definition to you is, do we take peace for granted? Other people's peace, for example, the people you work with, the children that go to your kids' school, the teachers that teach your kids, the grocery lady that says hello to you every day. Do we take peace for granted? What do you think? Yes, Tam.
Yes, so I think we do. I have a great conversation with Jane, and what she brought is like sometimes we were waiting for a shock so that we can wake up and then we can realize that, okay, peace is really something very important to us. So yeah, to answer your question, absolutely. We really take advantage of it.
Yeah, so usually peace is thought as absence of war, okay? But it doesn't have to be the external war. It could even be an internal war. Your head is saying something, your heart is saying something else. Husband is saying something else, wife is wanting something else, right? And whatever generation gap, mother and son or kids and father, right? But this circle then expands, right? There could be disharmony between two people or a group of people. But we take it for granted that there is harmony in the other person's mind also. Anyone else? One more person would like to chime in before we move on? Yes, Jane, go ahead. And then Sandukash.
Yeah, I mean, you provoked something in me which is that we can delude ourselves that we're at peace. So we can tell ourselves a story that we're at peace when we're not. We could ignore some of those conflicts that we're feeling, push them away, just as much as we can in more stable countries. We can delude ourselves that we're at peace as well.
Wow,
when we may not be.
Thank you, Jane, for opening that can. Okay, Sandugash, you want to speak? Did I pronounce your name correct?
Yes, absolutely, Mandar. Yeah, we were discussing internally, like Rachel and Esther, and for me, peace is representation of, first of all, inner peace, and there's like always you have to go extra mile to reach that space where you're really in that deep inner peace. And I think depending, I mean, whether we take it for granted or not, it depends. Like sometimes we know difficult people, yeah, troublemakers. I think everyone has their own struggle, and what we see is just iceberg, like tip of the iceberg. And I think we don't know sometimes what kind of struggles and troubles people have. And I think the probability is that no one reached that like in a peace with 100%, a part of your guru and some other enlightened people. But this is something where, as Rachel said, it's work in progress for all of us.
Yeah, when I worked at Shell as a petroleum engineer for nearly 20 years, I didn't meet people who were contented. I met people who were senior leaders, but there was so much jealousy, so many ego issues. And here I was like, what? VP deep water production? Like what? How did you become that?
Mandar, I also worked in Shell and oil and gas for 15 years, so I totally would understand you. Okay.
But it could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be Shell. It could be absolutely anywhere, yeah? It could be literally your child's school teacher. So number one, we do not talk about the who that we discussed, right? We do not talk about the who is part of the project or the work. And number two, definitely we don't ask people, hey, are you peaceful? Are you happy? Yeah, we don't go there. We don't go there. If we go there, we can make miracles happen. Yeah. So the pandemic actually allows us to go there. The pandemic allows us as leaders to start talking about mental well-being. Yeah. So in 2003 at Shell, we had a reserves crisis. We had a crisis at Shell where the board was fired. CEO was fired for wrongly reporting the reserves on Wall Street. And I had just started as a petroleum engineer. I had nothing to do with what they had done, but it was very embarrassing to tell people you work for Shell. So I started with a few other people at Shell, a discussion on peace at work, happiness at work. Very difficult, 2003, right? Mindfulness, the word was not invented then. So it was a very tough, but I continued. I kept talking about responsibility at work. And, I met the CEO. And something magic happened, because when you talk about these things, like Jane said, there is trauma in everybody's life. You have no idea what people are going through. You have no idea that the CEO's son has autism. No idea. Yeah. So assume that after pandemic, you can be bold enough to start a discussion and bring a discussion on mental well-being. It will create miracles in your purpose work. Guaranteed. This is what happened in my life.
Okay.
Questions, then we'll save the questions for later. Is that okay?
Yep.
So just a clue, what Sandugash was also saying, that unless there is inner peace, just peace is not just I'm so happy, right? That is not the peace. So there is a very beautiful science that emotions have a corresponding breathing pattern. It's universal. Whatever emotions we are going through, though the negative emotions stick to us, anger sticks to us, sadness sticks to us. So by going in finding how can I get over my negative emotion, the breath is a very simple tool. And fortunately, it's a universal tool. We are all breathing. but we just don't know. Nobody has taught us this, how to manage our emotions, neither at school nor at home. We are just told, hey, Sarah, don't be angry. It's okay. It's life. It'll pass away. It's life. Yeah? But there are very heavy emotions like Jane was referring to. Very, very heavy emotions. We think it's nothing, but for that person, it may be heavy. So through the breath, you can easily manage those emotions. Okay. So my next question is about purpose. And so we'll go back into breakout rooms. And I'm sure you are doing something purposeful. That is what attracted you to this event. But what I would like you to share 2 minutes each again is, don't tell what you are doing now. I would like you to free think, what else could you be doing? Like I said, trees, stones have a much bigger shelf life on the planet than we do. Our time is very precious, very short. So I acknowledge that whatever work you're doing now, amazing work, don't doubt it. But just 2 minutes, just think, what else I could be doing on the planet? I have 10, 20, 30, 40 years remaining. All the best.
Okay, so we're going to open the rooms now, and we'll see you back in just over 5 minutes.
And Chris, I'm sure you did as well. So it's great if you can all connect with each other and give a nudge to your buddy to do what they were saying, even if it is 1 inch at a time. That they have to make space, because those ideas that were shared can create a ripple effect, make somebody's life better. Of course, you have too much going on, so just 1 inch at a time is good enough. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go back to my screen. Do you see my screen? Yes. Okay. Okay. Where is my screen now? Okay. Yeah, so purpose is, for me, needs to be reimagined every now and then, and needs to be recalibrated every now and then. Yeah, and then opportunities like the pandemic, like a divorce, like a hurricane, like a school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Let's not waste these opportunities, because these opportunities can make a huge difference to our own calling. Yeah. And the people that we are talking to, the clients that you are serving, have these discussions with them, because their kids are also going to the schools, the Uvalde school. Yeah. I have been to Uvalde once every year for a decade for a meditation retreats. It's in the middle of hill country in Texas. There's nothing out there. Your nearest neighbor is a cow. You would never imagine something that happened. Unbelievable. Okay, so talking about ripple effects, this is a quote I really like, that just like you throw a stone in the pond and it creates so many ripple effects, each of your ideas, whichever idea you spoke about, like Alberto's idea, even if he makes 1 inch in this lifetime, okay, he may come back in this lifetime. If he just makes 1 step, like I'm going to make a website for that idea, that's huge. Yeah. So keep moving. But this is why we need leaders to think about both peace and purpose, because we are at crossroads. Yeah, we are at a crossroad. There's so much happening in the world that we better have leaders, influencers, decision makers look at the sky and look at how small and insignificant I am compared to what is out there. Yeah, and so that is where I feel we play our role as, purpose collective, purpose discussion threads. Very important to spark these conversations with the people that we are working with. So I did the same in Shell. 2003, like I said, there was a reserves crisis. I started talking about meditation at work. Mindfulness was never invented there at that time. I ended up teaching 2,000 people at Shell how to meditate. Of course, you need a good boss. So my boss was an awesome thing that happened to me. And that won me an award, an entrepreneur award in 2012, 10 years ago this month. I got this entrepreneur award. I didn't know what entrepreneur means. It's a change maker, but inside large organizations. And my award was to bring a meditation program at Shell Oil and teach 2,000 people across the company in Shell Australia, Shell Brazil, Shell Nigeria, Shell Dubai, etc., etc. As part of my job. That was not my job. Yeah. So what happens when you get external recognition is you get to meet senior leaders. So with my boss's approval, I went to meet with the CEO of Royal Dutch Shell. So Peter Wozer was his name. This was 2012, this month, a 10-year anniversary. And at that time, I was in the Game Changer program at Shell. So every large company has incubators, innovation incubators. So I was in the top right-hand box, engineering technology incubator. And of course, we invest Shell money. And the investments were all in technologies that are related to energy. And it's a bet. So the bet is let Shell have a direct return on investments. That was the filter of choosing where to invest. Companies also invest in social technologies, the CSR programs, but the value is indirect. It could be good recruitment, could be a good neighbor, it could be a good end of the year report, right? So it could be any of these things, brand and marketing related. Usually it is build a school, build a hospital, whatever, build a road, plant trees, and then your name gets there. This program was done by Shell. So what I pitched to my CEO was the top left-hand box, that we need to create an incubator for solving the social problems in the world, environmental problems, some problems Shell creates. And he asked me for some examples. I gave him some examples and I was able to influence him that day, this month, and he created my job. So I stayed at Shell 4 more years, managing a multi-million-dollar portfolio that would look at social technologies. And it would not be CSR. It would have a business model return on investment story before you could invest. Yeah, so I'm just going to give you a few examples of what we were able to achieve during those years. If it moves. Oh, I realize now what happened. Okay, so boxes got filled now. How can I move this down? Okay, can you see these beautiful things on the screen? Yes?
Yeah.
So these are rats, these are pouch rats. They are used for landmine detection. The innovator, a Dutch guy, a Belgium Dutch guy, he had trained 300 rats to sniff landmines. And they have an exam. They have to detect 10 out of 10 landmines before they get sent to the minefield. So I met this guy. I said, dude, amazing. Why are you doing this? And in the interest of time, I will reveal the answer. The answer was because he loves rats. And I said, what? He said, yeah, when I was a young kid, I used to be depressed. I used to go on the streets and pet street rats. And so I want to change the way people think about rats. That day, 10 years ago, this month, I was blown away, mentally blown away. Like, dude, people are like this in the world. What am I doing at Shell? So when I got my incubator in place, I went back to this person. I went back to this person and we started thinking about how these rats can help Shell. At that time, again, in the interest of time, there were 2,000 people employed by Shell Oil to clean landmines in a project in Iraq. They had discovered $1 billion of natural gas, but the land was mined because of Desert Storm. So CSR had made an interesting proposal that we will employ the local youth, we will create employment opportunities for the local youth, and they will clean the land, and then we will come and produce the hydrocarbon. Something didn't feel right, but me and my boss said, rats. So we started thinking rats. Now, rats for Shell is for two reasons. One, it will make the life of these people that you have employed safer, because the rat is on a leash. The person holding the rat will know where the landmine is. You can say that is the social good, the social impact side of this investment. The other side of this investment is that rats are 10 times faster in demining. So compared to a human being, the rat will be 10 times faster. What does it mean? It means we will get access to the land potentially 10 times faster. And that is where the money comes in, right? So that is where it's an idea that is at the interface of good for society, good for business. I'll run through one more example before we take questions. So this is an example that may resonate with many of you much easier. So these are petrol stations out in the nowhere. These are called truck stops. And truckers are the most valuable customer for a fuel retailer. So what I thought was, if I can bring access to primary healthcare at that truck stop that is provided by a healthcare provider, like in the US, CVS Pharmacy, and if I can put telemedicine and employ a local nurse, then the local villagers don't need to go to the bigger city, but we can bring the doctor to the last mile. And so that is where this idea becomes potentially a game changer, because if this works, then you can bring it in all over the world, wherever there are truck stops. So is this an example of how can you socialize the business? How can you do well while doing good? And how can you leverage your ecosystem, right? So Shell will never compete with a healthcare provider, etc., etc. So this example gives you a flavor of what my job was that I had created. Like, somebody has to prove this concept before it can scale. And that is the incubator I had created. And that was a dream job that I did for 4 years, is investing Shell money in ideas and people that have both doing good and doing well. So finally, last few slides, what I'm doing now is I left Shell 6 years ago, became a filmmaker. But I am now engaging organizations, whether it's a nonprofit organization, governmental organization, or a business organization, and asking them to think what else can be their purpose. And then because of my experience at Shell, I am looking for business value propositions that can be integrated to solve social problems, because then the solution is sustainable. So purpose for me requires two things. One, it has to be an intense feeling. And second, it's a journey. It cannot be a destination. And that is where you need to take timeouts, detours once in a while to check what you are doing, what else can you do. So this is my documentary film. It's available in the UK and US. It was also converted into an educational module on peace in partnership with the Association of American School Superintendents. Why? Because America faces a huge problem of violence in the schools. But I think that problem could be a global problem. These, the kids today, the young people today are into drugs, are into video games. So it doesn't have to be violence related to guns and mass shootings. It could be other types of violence issues as well. The delegation to India serves as a way for giving leaders an opportunity to take a time out. So after they watch the film, people come and ask, hey, can I come with you to India? So I've hosted about 100 leaders to India. And it's been an honor to host like police and gang members in the same delegation. Out of the interactions with the Los Angeles Police Department, I started a consultancy on peace because while I was doing the Purpose Innovation Lab for the Los Angeles Police Department, I realized that the cost of one homicide in LA is about $1 million. And there are roughly about 400 murders in LA. So if you add burglary, rape, assault, bullying, it becomes a multi-billion-dollar business. So that's the nature of violence. It's a business. And the solution is, if you can, spend those resources and promote peace, you don't need to spend that money on violence. So that's where I have started recently thinking about peace and profit. Like, how can I create a business model for promoting peace? And of course, I'm doing something about it. This is a TV show that we have designed that will create stories that will uplift, that will heal, create conversations with those who engage with the TV show. So this is an entertainment product business. It has to be engaging, so it cannot be a documentary. It has to be a spicy television show. But the purpose of the show is peace. So this is one example of, can peace be profitable? Yes. If you do the show correct, it's possible. Finally, before I close, this has been my mantra for life for many, many years now, that I would like to do things that other people are not doing. And during this process, I will meet people who want to do something that nobody else is doing, and we can collaborate. And finally, life is short. So people will not remember you, but people will remember if you brought them some experience of inner peace or love, because that's what we finally leave behind.
Thank you so much, Mandar, for that. I mean, you've covered really the inner dimension, the outer dimension, living your purpose in that big corporate environment of Shell, and also what you've been doing since then. And I would really encourage people to watch the video. It is so inspiring about you taking people around India, and as you say, the gang members, the police officers. So Mandar, are you happy to take questions, comments? Can we open this up for the last few minutes? Yeah, that's great. So Sarah's asking where people can find the video. It's on Amazon, if I remember.
It's on Amazon in the UK and the US. I don't know how to bring it on Prime. I am an accidental filmmaker. But even better than that is the module, the Be the Change module, which has my film and more. It has breath work, meditation practice. So it would be a good family watch. There is no violence in the film, so you can watch it.
Do we find that on Amazon too?
No, that is on I will put the link here.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Mandar, really thank you for sharing this amazing story. So inspiring. How did you know which direction to move? Of course, like, you are a meditator and you have your inner guidance, but how did you know what is your purpose?
I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer, but the answer comes from within. And so I have never missed a single day of my yoga meditation practice for nearly 20 years now. So it's a feeling in your heart. I can't explain what it is.
Thank you.
I have a question. Did you come up against any barriers, particularly in the corporate experience, when people talk about spirituality and kind of like religion and how this all kind of links together?
Of course, I started this in 2003, at which time, it was it was not the Bay. I didn't work in the Bay Area. I didn't work at a Google, so it was very difficult. I learned what not to do. Okay, so I stumbled, and I've met people that took me the next step. But religion and spirituality is a very interesting discussion. The analogy is that of a banana peel and a banana. So the banana peel is the religious pathway. Spirituality is the banana. So once you have tasted the banana, you will honor all the peels. But what is happening today is we are reverse, right? We are stuck with our peel and we are saying, my way is the only way.
Yeah.
Dude, you have not tasted the banana. If you had, you would have transcended the religious symbols and practices. And that is what meditation practice gives you, a direct experience. So religion and spirituality, the confusion doesn't exist in the East, because in the East, there is no conflict between who am I and what is this. So who am I is the spiritual quest. What is this is the scientific quest. And there is no conflict. In fact, you don't believe anything until it is your experience. So that is the difference between the East, and that's why people have been coming to India from thousands and thousands of years ago, right? Because something is here that is, I can't even explain it. It's something is here. But I left Shell because of the conflict at work.
Right. Interesting.
Because my Game Changer program that I ran for 4 years was part of the Game Changer group. But then the CEO retired, my boss retired, and then I was moved to the corporate affairs. And that is where it went. Because corporate affairs doesn't take risk. And so my job was to take risk, because if you don't take risk, you will not learn. And so that created a friction, because leaders, not just at Shell, I think everywhere, they have no idea about innovation 101. They don't know. Because if you want to be a leader, a senior leader in a government structure, non-governmental or a for-profit structure, you have kept your boss happy. You have managed projects on time, and you've delivered early, and you've got the promotion. So you have not done anything, I think, that has been risky. Whereas innovation is taking the risk head on, not shying away from it. So I gracefully left Shell. That's another story. That's another presentation. Any other question?
No more questions.
I was just going to say that on your last point there, Mandar, it really underlines your message about how purpose needs to be recalibrated and reimagined, and that you've lived that experience by the sounds of it at Shell. So thank you for sharing that part of your story as well.
I find that quite interesting, actually, because I've heard from various different sources over the years that your personal purpose doesn't really change, and or shouldn't really change. And I've often wondered about that. So it's interesting that you're talking about reimagining and resetting, because actually for me at this time personally, that's really relevant and really helpful. But it's good to reimagine and reset. That's nice.
But I think, peace, there is no higher purpose than that.
Sure, for sure.
So once you are aligned with that, whatever higher purpose, then everything you are doing is for peace, Sarah. Whether it's going to the movies or going for a pizza party, like what are we doing? Because we want to feel good. We want to be peaceful. We just don't talk about it.
Yeah, maybe more talking about it would be a good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, these have to be civil society conversations. Yeah, these have to be people that you and me, we bring these conversations at the workplace, at the doctors, at the hospitals. Like, people are not happy for whatever reason. We can't talk about that, but we can talk about peace, right? So gang members and police officers that I train, they are so opposite. But the one thing that brings them together is they are all traumatized. So they can come together to heal from their trauma and find inner peace.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, thank you very much, Mandar, for this super nice session. We are going to take a very quick screenshot before everyone leaves. And we have another session, our next session, last session before the summer break on the 7th of July. It will be a celebration of our 2 years together as the Purpose Collective and some summer vibes. And we are going to be live in Birmingham on the 22nd of September, where we will tell you more about it. So I will count until 3. We're speaking Dutch now. 1, 2, 3, and taking the screenshot. Wait.
Maybe one request to make a heart of your own shape. It doesn't have to be this. Come out of your box and make a big heart, as big as you want.
I'll take another one. I don't know how to take it with the same. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you hopefully on the 7th of July.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Mandar.
Bye.
Happy Friday, everybody.